Psalm 127 and 128. If you don't worry about it, if you don't have your own copy of the Bible, verses are going to come on the screen. And I see y'all already ready to follow that instruction. If you're able to physically stand for this time of reading the word, I would appreciate that as we stand together to honor the Lord's voice in our lives. It says in the New Living Translation, it's going to be hard to see them now, everybody stand up. In the New Living Translation, I'm going to be thinking about that the whole time I'm preaching, right? It's amazing what the Lord can do. Verse 1 of Psalm 121 says, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with sentries will do no good. It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late at night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to his loved ones. Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands. Verse 5, how joyful is the man whose quiver is full of them. He will not be put to shame when he confronts his accusers at the city gates. Psalm 128, verse 1, how joyful are those who fear the Lord, all who follow his ways. Listen to what he says will happen. You will enjoy the fruit of your labor. How joyful and prosperous you will be. Your wife will be like a fruitful grapevine flourishing within your home. Your children will be like vigorous young olive trees as they sit around your table. Everybody say table. That is the Lord's blessing for those who fear him. And may the Lord continually bless you from Zion. May you see Jerusalem prosper as long as you live. And may you live to enjoy your grandchildren. I'm going to say that again. May you live to enjoy your grandchildren. I'm going to say that one more time. May you live to enjoy your grandchildren. And may Israel have peace. Before you're seated, I want to read verse 1 again of Psalm 127. Unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. You may be seated. Unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. It was recently that I came across a term in the world of construction called a gut renovation. A gut renovation, by definition, is a time where a house is totally renovated. Everything is torn out, taken out, and replaced. The only thing that stays intact is the structure of the house and the frames, the bare walls. Everything is got, in a gut renovation, you have what you can bank on this, a mess, a lot of hard work. It is very costly and it is time consuming. My wife, Vicki, and I have been in the same house. This is year 20 in the house that we're in. And I don't know that God is so cool, like he orchestrated things that we would be essentially doing a gut renovation on the house we've been in for 20 years while I'd be in a series on rebuilding and building a house. It wasn't planned that way. I didn't plan it. I'm not that smart. And it's deep because our house is a mess. It's like everything is coming out. We've taken appliances out and took the kitchen apart and put new floors in and all the furniture is coming out and it's a mess. And I keep saying this in every service because I think it's important. What is so interesting about it is I don't want anybody over my house right now. I don't want nobody to come over and see this mess. In fact, the only people that I want to come over my house right now are the people who are helping to renovate it. That makes sense, right? I don't want you to see this mess. If you ain't here to fix this and make it better, I don't want to see you. And I'm saying when you're going through a gut renovation in your marriage and in your house and in your family, it is too messy, it is too costly, it is too time consuming, and it's too much hard work to have just anybody in and out of there. You got to have people who have the expertise to help you renovate it. That's part of the problem is we're trying to renovate a new house with old people who helped the house get where it is. So somebody may ask, well, why? Why would y'all go through all of this? Why would y'all go through all this time and money and all? I tell you what happened. It started with dissatisfaction. We were both dissatisfied with the way the house looked and the clutter and all that stuff in the house. And so dissatisfaction is a good thing because it moves you to decision. See, if you're dissatisfied with your marriage or you're dissatisfied with the lack of closeness in your family, you're dissatisfied with your home or anything about it, that's a good place to be because you're not going to make a change until you're dissatisfied. The dissatisfaction led to a decision, and my wife had a different decision to me. She was like, let's move. Let's get another house. My decision was I wanted us to stay and rent. I said, this is a nice house. It just needs to be redone. So once we got on the same page and we were both able to say, let's do the work, let's redo this house, it was the next thing that came for us was vision. We started seeing what it could be, not what it was. And when you get a vision for something like it can be, it'll make you do the work to get to it. But here's the thing, here's the game changer right here. The game changer was we knew we wanted a gut renovation. We knew we wanted to remodel the house, but we didn't know how to do it. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I can't work with my hands. If I had to work with my hands, I'd have to steal. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I can't change a tie. I can't change, these hands are for praying. I know my lane, I can't fix nothing. So we got an idea, we got a vision, but we can't execute it. And then I learned from this book by Benjamin Hardy that he co-authored called Who, Not How. Once we got the who, which was a general contractor, now we knew how to do it because we found the right who to show us how to get the vision done. Shout out A&I Restorations for being that general contractor that's helped us do it. And here's the deal. Now that we're working on this, we know we can look ahead to a time when all this hard work will pay off and we'll be able to look around the house and say, it's more valuable now, it looks better, and we're glad we went through all the work to have what we had. All of that is a picture of what I've been trying to teach in this series. That you have to get to a point where you have a vision for something better than what it is. And that instead of moving and selling out, you stay and you remodel and you rebuild. But here's what God says, you gotta have the right who. You can't rebuild without the general contractor. And Psalm 127:1 says God is the general contractor. He says, if you exclude me, you're in trouble. He says, except the Lord builds the house, the builder's work is in vain. See, some of us are building, we're building without God. You build a house without God, it's going to be exposed eventually. You build it only on your intellect, only on your network, only on your human knowledge and what you know, it's going to be exposed because a storm is coming, and the only thing that will stormproof it is what God says. Is this house built on what God says? That's at the end of the day. You can be in a fraternity, you can be in a sorority, you can be a Mason, you can be an Eastern Star, you can be a Black Pearl. I don't know what you can be. You can be all of that. You don't have God as your foundation. Your house is coming down with all of your accoutrements with it. Trust that. That ain't even no shade. That's just facts. Except the Lord builds the house. The builder is working in vain. So the reason why I picked these two Psalms is because there are two verses I want to pull out, one out of each Psalm. There's one verse in Psalm 127, verse 4 that I want to highlight, and then I want to look at verse 3 in Psalm 128, because they will get for us today what I want to talk about is rock solid parenting. I'm going to come back to this in part 6 and look at these Psalms again because there's so much in there. But look at what it says in verse 4 of Psalm 127. It says, children are born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands. It's interesting. The Bible says children are like arrows in a warrior's hands, arrows. And then Psalm 128 verse 3 says, in the B portion, it says children are like vigorous young olive trees. Arrows, Psalm 127. Olive trees, Psalm 128. What does an arrow need? If a child is like an arrow, what does an arrow need? An arrow needs direction. If an arrow is not aimed right, it will hit the wrong thing. An arrow that is not aimed right will become dangerous to the society in which it is launched. What does an olive tree need? It needs to be planted. It needs roots. It needs stabilization. So an olive tree represents the foundation of the child. The arrow represents the future of the child. The child's foundation and future is hinging upon the effectiveness of its parents. The child's ability to have stability, olive tree, and the ability to soar, arrow, is contingent upon the parents. And I'm going to just say it right up front. A lot of it happens at the table. I told them, take all the couches out today. All I want is a table. All I want is a dining room table. One of the most powerful places in the house that you have, I don't care how small it is, how big it is the table. The table is where roots are given, where trees are developed, and where launching happens, where arrows are sharpened and roughed off so that they can soar. That happens at the table. So I said, let me look at these two things. Let's look at these two areas. There's an author, he's a late author, named William Harding Carter II, and he says that children need two things. He says there are two things we should give children. One is roots and the other is wings. We need to give children roots, and we need to give them wings. Roots and wings. Hey, that's just like Psalm 128 and 127. In Psalm 128, it says they're like olive trees. That's roots. Psalm 127, they're like arrows. They fly. That's wings. Children need to be given stability. They need to be given the ability to soar. Let's unpack both of these and see how it works in our life. In order to give a child stability and roots, it is difficult for a child to live without roots and be connected to something, because the tree that a child is growing up in, if the child is not connected and rooted into that family and feels a part and loved and connected to that family, it won't get the nourishment from the tree that it was intended to get. And so because the child needs nourishment, it will seek nourishment from other places. Now we're frustrated because it's bearing fruit that's not coming out of our tree. And you say, why do you act like that? It's because of what I'm rooted to. Because whether we like it or not, this is now their new family. It could be a basketball team. It could be a gang. It could be a group of wild people. It could be a group of nice. It could be a group of intelligence who are agnostic or atheists. It doesn't matter. They went there for nourishment. What they got out of it was fruit. Because fruit, a tree buys fruit. It doesn't mean that they're not part of your family. It just means they're not rooted. They're not connected. And one of the reasons why our children are disconnected and our families are disconnected, I said last week, is because of busyness. Everybody's doing the most. Even in a family where you have both parents, which is rare, usually both of those parents work full time. So you got two parents that work two full-time jobs. After they get the kids off to school and all that stuff, they got two full-time jobs. And then because they want to be fit, they don't just work, they also work out. So now you got to work, then you got to work out. That's extra time. In addition to that, many of these parents are involved in other things in their life. They're involved in the church. They serve at the church. She's in a sorority. He's faithful in his fraternity. He's coaching football and she's teaching dance. And they got all these things going on. This is just their life. Things that they do for their own sanity, for their own service, their own spiritual development. The parents are busy. We ain't even got to the kids yet. The kids are busier than ever. These kids are busy. They ain't just in school. They're in Montessori school. They don't just take band, they take classical band. Because, we like to say that, oh, no, he's in classical band. They don't just play sports, they play like 7 sports. They play in sports all year. They play in sports they're not even good at. And then you got to travel with them. We got to go all the way to Florida to watch you sit on a bench because you're not even good at this. And now I got to be a team mom and bring the snacks too. And now your dad's security, he's a security chaperone, and you can't even play. Like, we got you instead. Y'all doing too much. It's like we're doing everything, and this is all going on all the time. And what I'm saying is this busyness, how can I be rooted to my family when I'm connected to so much? Like I'm just into everything. I'm in everything. I'm in everything. And then when you have a house, it's hard to get everybody in the family just in one room. Like everybody got their own room, their own TV in their own room. They got their own laptop in their own room. Everything is like you create these mini houses within the house. And so nobody has to come. And then when we cook food, everybody takes the food back to their room. So nobody's even eating together. We're watching the same show on 5 televisions. And somebody said, hey, did you see that? Well, you could have came down here. We could have watched it together. It's hard to get connected. One person's on Facebook, the father's watching ESPN, another person's on the gram, somebody's watching Snapchat. Is that still out? Is Snapchat still out? It probably ain't even out no more. Dang, I need to upgrade. TikTok, somebody on TikTok, and somebody else got the headphones on, listening to music. Everybody's on their phone. And all this is just disengaging. It doesn't look blatant, it's subtle, but we're all disconnected. And when you're living in the house that you don't feel connected in, you're going to connect to something. No matter what it is, and what are you listening to? Who are you connecting with? That's my family. This is what I engage in. This is what feeds me. Are y'all listening to me? So you might say, well, how do we get them connected? How do we get them rooted? I mean, we got to eliminate some of these things. I'm going to go counterintuitive because I'm not going to tell you what to stop doing. I'm going to introduce something you should start doing. I'm going to add to the list. And here's what I'm going to add. It's called family rituals. Family rituals are the key to reconnecting or connecting our children and giving them roots in our family. Family rituals. A family ritual has 4 components to it. It has a food component to it. It can be a food component because everybody likes to eat. It should have a fun component to it. If it's something fun, you don't have to drag people to it. You got to make it exciting and interesting, and people will come back and participate. It can have a formative component to it, something instructional. We learn through this, and it should have a faith component to it because Psalm 127 verse 1 says, unless the Lord's in it, it ain't gonna work. Now, I'm gonna give you a list of 16 of these. Now, because the goal is not just, we're fighting y'all not just to stay together as a family, we're trying to be close. Who understands what I'm saying? You can be together, but we ain't close. We're just all over the place. How do you keep us close? Family ritual. I'm gonna give you 16 of them. It's not an exhaustive list, it's a representative list. If you got some cool ideas, hit me up on Facebook, on IG, or Black Planet, in MySpace, hit me up. Hit me up there and give me the ideas so I can fellowship with you. Number 1, eating meals together. It's a family ritual. Get the kids involved. They can help prepare the meals. They can schedule a time. You might not be able to do every meal every day. You may not be able to do 1 meal a day. You might just be able to get 1 meal in a week, given everybody's schedule. But it's so important because you know what? It gets you back to the table is where people are seen. The table is where you have conversations that get to where people are living. So how are things going? What's going on in your life? What's going on in your world? Whenever your children tell you, hey, can you cook me that? You say, I don't feel like doing that. Let me tell you what that's giving you. It's an opportunity to get to the table. I don't feel like cooking that, but I'm gonna cook that because you ain't taking it up to your room when I cook it. When you cook it, all right, hey, so how you doing? Because you get information at the table. It is a critical moment. And it should be, when I grew up, this is true story. When I grew up with a single mom, my mother cooked for us pretty much every day, but me and my brother, we didn't eat at a table together. She cooked, the food was on the stove, so we made our own plates. And we just ate whenever it was time. No, it was no formal time when everybody came together and eat. I didn't grow up like that. We had dinners on Sundays. People would come over once she got saved, but for the most part, we didn't have family dinner. That's true. I'm telling you the truth. So when I got married to Vicky, she kept saying, we need to have dinner together. And when the kids started growing up, she said, we need to have dinner around the table together. And I would literally say to myself, what is wrong with her? Like, what is this? What are you talking about? We just had dinner. But I regret it now. I wish I would have listened to her because I missed time at the table. I could have saw stuff and heard stuff and been present at the table. I was so busy trying to make money for the table, but I wasn't at the table. And some of you ain't at the table because you're working a double. getting money to buy stuff that don't matter. And you're going to lose what matters that's at the table. Ooh, I'm trying to talk to somebody. Does it really matter if you have two of those and the 2023 version of it? Do you have to get the new limited edition? You did all that for that, and you miss what really mattered. Wow. Now we got all the things, but we don't have each other. Wow. And we're not at a table. I was at a family dinner. They have it every week, the Davies family. And I got to sit in on one that they had yesterday. It was a special event. I was blown away. I was like, this is amazing. It's 12 children. Some of them are married, and the parents and the grandparents, it's generational. And they're all having dinner together and talking around the table. And this, I told my wife when we left, they played a game, and I know maybe some of y'all can relate to this. I couldn't relate to this. They do this every week. It's like on their schedule. And then check this out. I said to my wife, I said, did you notice something? She said, what? I said, nobody had a phone, a cell phone. Because I didn't know no better. I'm crazy. I had my phone on the table. With my crazy self, my phone be going off all the time. I had my phone. I didn't know the rules. And then she said, you didn't hear the grandmother say to Asa, who's my son, he was there too, to say, Asa, what you doing with that phone? Because he's my son. He ain't been trained right. So I'm just saying, me and Asa, the only two with phones out. Then it hit me. That's how you connect. You ever try to connect with a group of people, everybody got their phone? It ain't gonna work. Like I said, this is amazing. I'm going to interview them. I need them to do a video for this because this is amazing. So I asked Dr. Monica Turner, Monica Holmes. She's an educator, was Pastor Sean Mason's first grade teacher. She's been in education, because Sean is at least 100. So she's been in education for a long time, and she's raised children. Here's what Dr. Monica Holmes had to say about children.
As a parent, we rely on three things: team, talk, and teach. We stand as a team. We stand as a unified front. There's no disagreements in public, but with the kids, we make sure we are on one accord. And then we've learned to teach them. We teach them what's right from wrong, and we hold them accountable for their actions. And the last thing we do is we talk. We create a space where it's comfortable for them to come to us, for them to share their concerns, for them to share their good, the bad, the highs, and the lows. We're that safe space for our children, and that's what parenting is to us. Thank you so much.
I love that. And if you're going to teach and you're going to be a team and you're going to talk, there's no better place to do it than at the table. Like, there's another thing. Let me get through this because I'm going to be here all day. Bedroom prayer time for little children is a great family ritual. It connects them to God. Even if you only know the now lay me down to sleep prayer, work with it. I mean, hopefully you can add some language to it, right? And get them to the point where they're praying and they're learning that God is an essential part of our day, where we start and end our day with God. A family ritual is family mantras and affirmations. When we tell our kids it's a good time to do this at night too, and remind them who they are. You're a king. You're a queen. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're courageous. You have a good heart. You're God's person. You belong to God. Like, tell them, give them scriptures. Give them things you want them to never forget. And if you didn't do it for your children, or you did it for your children, start doing it for your grandkids. You know what being a grandparent is? A second chance. Just tell our kids, I messed up on you. I just messed up on you. I mean, it's just the Lord got you. Number 4, make birthdays special. I think birthdays should be like a national holiday in your family. Like, this is your birthday. This is the day God sent you to us. This is the day you were born. Do you know how much of a miracle it is for a life to come out of a body? Like, people think that ain't normal. And it worked. Like, you got here, it worked for you. We're gonna celebrate that. You still here. This is a big day, whatever the date is. Make their birthday special. You don't have to make Christmas special. That ain't even their birthday. Most of them ain't even born. That's Jesus' national holiday. This is yours. April 17th, that's a big day for us. Make it a big day. Number 5, the seat of honor. Great family ritual. I learned this from Pastor Dwayne Bond in Charlotte, North Carolina. And with the family, what the seat of honor is you put one person in the middle of a room and the whole family goes around and just applauds a personality trait about them, a characteristic about them, about how cool you are and how grateful we are for you and you're smart or whatever you want to say. Let me tell you something. If that happens once a week, if you are lifted up by the people that love you once a week, do you know how powerful that is when somebody that doesn't matter try to tear you down? It's too late. It's too late. I used to tell this story. I used to go down to my mother's house every Sunday night after preaching, and I go down there and we play a game called Pinochle. And my mother used to always applaud me. She said, "Oh, that was so good what you preached today. Oh, you're so good." She said, "You Michael Jackson." I said, I'd be like, "Hey, I may not be able to preach good, but my mama told me." See, y'all can't convince me otherwise. My mama said I'm Michael Jackson. She said, "You Michael Jackson when it comes to that." She might be lying, but she said it too much. You can't tell me I'm trash. It's too late. I've been in the seat of honor. Special nights. Special nights when you go bowling, skating, movies, pizza, ice cream, whatever. It ain't even the thing you do. The thing is just a tool for us. We could have had bad pizza. It don't matter. We can talk about, remember that time we had some bad pizza? That's what I'm talking about. See, you got to stop being selfish. I don't like doing that. I don't want to go to the end. Get over you. It's about us. Somebody got to compromise for us. I don't like it hot. I don't like it cold. Where we going to go? It's about us moments. Watching a movie at home if necessary. And if it's a good movie, you can talk about it. Have conversations about it afterwards. That becomes educational. Family vacations. You got to plan for those. You got to have the money for them. I think it's pretty bad if you got on red bottoms and you got on Gucci and you got on all this stuff, but you at the Red Roof Inn when you travel. That's a problem. You need to sell them red bottoms and upgrade. You got your money in the wrong place. They come and vacuum your room with the red roof and they got the vacuum plastic, them red bottoms. That's not the right look. Hey, if you can't afford to go anywhere, go down to your mama's house. Somebody always got a mother live somewhere. You can go over her house. It's usually down south. There ain't no internet, no cable. You can't do nothing but talk to each other. That's perfect. Family vacations, and spouses need to take vacations too. Rock solid. Family devotions, having prayer, a scripture. Don't have to be long, a testimony about what God did. Playing games together. Make it fun. Play tag, play hide and seek, do something. Play board games, do something. Have fun. Those are family rituals. Attend an entertainment event together, a concert, a circus, a sporting event. It's not even, I wouldn't want to go see the Ice Capades. I don't care. But go, it's us. I'm here. I remember a lady that said, "Why do you come to these baseball games? You like baseball?" He says, "No, I don't like baseball. I like him. He's on the team. I'm here for him." You get it? That's what family is. Number one? Read through books together. Talk about the books. Serve together. Serve the poor together. Go on a missions trip together. Family business meetings. That's a good one. Like introducing our children to how money works. This is how you pay bills. This is how you defer gratification so you can get something better. This is how you save money. This is how you invest money. This is how you budget. Like, educate them about money. They don't teach them about money in school, how to manage it. That's on us. Memory lane sessions. Remember when. Remember when. It gives you an opportunity to turn some bad stories into funny ones. If it's long ago, stuff that we used to not want to talk about, now we can laugh at it. That's a sign of health, actually. That we've gotten better, we're healing. Number 15 is apologies. I think apologies should be a family ritual. There's no way you can live in the same house with people and not hurt each other. And I don't know why parents don't think we need to apologize to our kids. Like, we should be leading the way. Like, I'm sorry, I yelled at you. I was a little too mean. I shouldn't have put my hands on you. I shouldn't have called you. Shouldn't have said you ain't gonna be nothing. Shouldn't have said you just like your father. Yeah, that was wrong. I lost it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And your apology should be on the same level of the injury. By that, I mean, you shouldn't hurt somebody in public and then apologize in private. No, if you hurt me in front of everybody, yeah, apologize to me in private, but then get everybody back together. Everybody that was sitting in the room when you did that, and say, hey, I need to FaceTime y'all. I need to tell y'all what I did that was wrong because they all saw it. See, that's that grown folk stuff. Don't embarrass me in private and then text me and say, my bad. No. Bring everybody back together. It's you meet every fourth, wait till next fourth Saturday. We had the same meeting in front of the same people, same committee, and say, last month I lost my mind, I lost my cool, I shouldn't have said what I said. I already apologized to Vivian, but I want to apologize to all of you in person. That's grown Christianity right now. And you got to be big enough to do that kind of stuff. Last thing, dream sessions. Be able to have a dream session with no judgment. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Where do you want to go? No judgment. What did you do it at the table? Do it somewhere where you can see the child. See, what Roots is, it allows me to be seen and loved. And if you create a date for these rituals, make sure you don't compromise it. It's non-negotiable. Because just as rituals connect, the absence of rituals disconnect. Trust that. The limited amount of, if you don't try to do all that, but if you just do one or two of those things with any level of regularity, you'll have connection. It is critical. How many of you want your family to be connected? You got to have rituals. I don't care what the ritual is. We play spades every Thursday night. Whatever it is, it needs to be something that connects the family. But that's not all we learn from this passage. They don't just need, as the author says, they don't just need roots, they need wings. They don't just need stability, they need the ability to soar. How do you give children wings? I'm gonna say two words, and it's gonna sound real simple, but the two words are this. You need to tell children, do you. Do you. What does that mean? Do you. Don't try to do me. Don't try to do somebody else. Do you. Because you the best you that there's ever been. Can't nobody do you like you. Do you. See, that's how you aim an arrow. That's how you launch a child when you first, aim, A-I-M. You have to be aware, of their innate mastery. Aware of their innate mastery. How has God designed this person? I can't aim you if I don't know how you've been designed and what your innate mastery is. See, it is lazy and a lie to tell a child you can do anything. That's we like the way that sounds. You can be anything. You can be anything you want in this world. That's lazy and it's a lie. It's lazy because it's too general. It makes it seem like they haven't been fearfully and wonderfully and uniquely made. You can do anything you want to do. That's lazy. No, you can do what you've been designed to do perfectly. You know why I know you can't do anything? What if they want to be tall? I want to be tall. Now, ain't in our family. I want to sing professionally. You don't sound good in the shower. Let me tell you, your best singer is in the shower, am I right? You sound bad in the shower. That ain't going to happen for you. The Lord ain't even going to do that for you. But let me tell you what he will do. If we can find out where you excel, that's real parenting. Because at the table, I saw you. Let me show you something. It was Marcus Buckingham. Am I taking too long? You know I don't care. It was Marcus Buckingham. Marcus Buckingham said something real deep. He says, imagine if a child is in school and let's say they get a A in math. And then in science, I know I spell science. Yeah, it was a little tricky though, wasn't it? Yeah, a little tricky right there. And they get a C in science, and then in history, and they get B minus. And then, there's a history, I got you. And then, y'all petty. And then in English, you get an F. So y'all see that? So in English, you get an F. And so Marcus Buckingham, they did a survey and they said of American parents, if this is your child's report card, where are you gonna focus? He says 77% of American parents focus on the F. We gotta save them. We gotta save them, can't have you failing. And he says, parents who operate like this have children who always are hearing about where they're weak. Every phone call, what are we gonna do about English? We're gonna do about English, we're gonna do it. Hello, have you looked up? He got an A in math. Instead of saying, hey, bro, how you do that? You're really good at this. See, if you're gonna give a child wings, the wings come up here where they excel. If you focus on weakness, they'll be average at best if they bring the weakness up. I'm not saying ignore the F, you manage the F, but you push them in excelling in where they're strong. So now they need to be placed in environments, because watch what Psalm 127:4 says. It says, children are like arrows in the hand of a warrior. I need somebody that'll fight for me. I need somebody that will advocate for me, somebody that knows that I'm an arrow and I'm not meant to live in a quiver. See, an arrow, it starts in a quiver. A quiver is a case that carries arrows, but an arrow cannot stay in the quiver. The arrow is only reaching its purpose when it's taken out of the quiver, put in a bow, and launched to hit its target. Do I have a mighty person raising me, or do I got a weak person who ain't paying attention to me? Because if you're paying attention to me, you'll make sure you understand what I excel in. Let me give you a quick testimony. When I was young, it was clear to everybody I was a clown. Every year, you can look at every yearbook. I was class clown, valedictorian class clown. Here's the problem. When I was in school and I'd be cutting them class clown, I would get in trouble. I'd get detention. I'd get after school detention. And then I get home, I get a beating. Or I get punished. I even got therapy over it. Somebody said, he's acting like this because his home is broken. But nobody said, is he funny? Now, y'all think I almost cried right there. No, I'm serious. Nobody aimed me. I'm cracking jokes for a living now. Y'all don't come just because I teach, you come because I'm funny too. But I used to get beat for this. What if somebody had enough sense to say, you know what? You actually are funny. Let us try to hone this in and give you spots where you can do this and it's at the right time. I got a text after the second service. This text came into my phone. I'm gonna read it to you. I hope it's true. I'm just reading what somebody sent to me. It's a credible source. This person said, when I was at Robert Goddard Junior High School, there was a kid who was the class clown. Our English teacher made a deal with him. She says, behave during class, I will give you the last 10 minutes of class. He says, that kid was Martin Lawrence. He sent me that after the second service. Like, somebody aimed him. I was speaking at Riker. It's a school called Riker. It was on Croom Road. I can't remember what Riker stands for, but it was a kid. It was a school you went to. You went there when you couldn't make it nowhere else. You just be in trouble, right? It was one of them tough schools. I was a guest speaker at the school one day, and I'm speaking in Riker, and when I got in there, I noticed there was a kid. I know he was a class clown, because you clowns know clowns. And I could tell by the way the instructors were so annoyed by him that he was a class clown. So when I got up to speak, I asked the teacher for permission for this. This is what I did when I got up to speak. I said to him, I said, hey, man, you want to be a comedian? And he thought I was trying to set him up and say, you shouldn't try to be, you should work in computers or something like that. He thought I was going to come at him like that. And I said, don't worry. I said, I wanted to as well. I said, this world we live in needs laughter. And I said, and you can bring it to the world. I said, hey, if you come up here, I got 15 minutes. I'll give you 5 of my minutes. If you say jokes that are clean and respectful, I'll give you 5 of my minutes right now. I was surprised. He came up. I remember one joke he said. He says, I just flew in here and boy, my arms are tired. I'll never forget he said that. I was like, that was kind of funny. I let him have 5 of my minutes. I sat him down, and it changed the way the people in the room looked at him. You know what I was doing? I was aiming him. I'm not even his father. We need the whole village aiming people. You need to be able to see innate mastery in people and say, hey, I want to spend some time with you. I see that with you. I want you to come to work with me. I got somebody I want to introduce you to that does this kind of work. I see that in you. We need the whole village because they're not connected at home and they're not being seen at home. You understand what I'm saying? This is so important. And then you need an environment. We need people that are willing to make the investment. Hey, I can't raise all my children the same. I see mastery in this child, and they can't get this at this school. So I'm going to have to send this child all the way to this school. We're going to have to take 2 buses to get him here, and we're going to have to pay tuition over here. So we can't get this in the public school because his unique wiring requires this kind of education. Are you willing to give up the Mercedes and the Benz and the BMW so you can do that for your child? Because he needs to be in the hand of a warrior. Oh, y'all ain't ready for this today. Your child needs to be in the hand of a fighter. If you ain't no fighter, stop having kids. If you can't give them direction, I'm going somewhere now. If you can't give direction to the arrow, close up shop. Shut it down. There's too many kids out here running around without direction. They need direction. If you ain't ready to give it to them, shut it down. It ain't their fault. There's arrows out of control. Shut it down. Whatever that means medically. Will you fight for them? Whew, I'm done. Here's the last thing. You can't soar and get wings if you're being pampered too much. Like part of, we call it a failure to launch. You know why you have people who are 38 years old? And I'm not talking about people with a mental health issue or some kind of disability. I'm talking about regular people, 38, living with their mama and the dad. Sometimes that's an experience, it's a setback, it's temporary. I'm talking about people who never left. Failure to launch. Failure to launch. That's a parental issue. You're still doing his clothes, you're still doing all this stuff for him, filling out applications. That's part of the reason. I think generationally, when I was coming along, we couldn't wait to get out the house. Like, sure, I would live on a chair than to live here. We work, whatever jobs we got to work. We work so much we didn't have a life. How many people work so hard you ain't even have a life? I ain't even got a life. This generation will not allow work to interfere with their life. Like, oh, I'm gonna have a life. Yeah, I work for you. I just need off weekends and evenings and mornings and afternoons. Other than that, you got me. Hey. The way you give a child wings is you start withdrawing support. You give them independence. You trust them. So I'm gonna give you this. Now you need to do this. You gotta dress yourself. You gotta start now. You with that phone, I know you have it. You don't know what it costs. You're gonna know what it costs now because I'm gonna make you pay for your phone now. You gotta pay for your phone to keep it going. Yeah, it's called cell phone service. You got to pay for that. And then I know you like that. You're going to start paying for your own car now. It'll change what you drive when you're paying for it, don't it? Well, I want to drive what you drive. Yeah, I got bigger wings than you. I've been out here longer than you. I've been working longer than you. You got to drive that because your wings can't drive this. As you drive this, you won't have a phone. you got to do it at your level. Why are you doing that? I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to give you wings. It ain't that I can't pay for it. My paying for it is disabling you. You got to know what insurance costs. You got to know. You understand what I'm saying? You have to intentionally withdraw support. See, some of you need that. You need to be let go by your parents because some of y'all will never be full adults as long as your parents keep paying for stuff for you. That's not independence. That's not love. It's disabling you. You need wings. What's going to happen when we're gone? You don't know how to fly. You don't know we're paying for everything, covering you and everything. This is disabling. It's not a lack of love to stop providing for everything. It is a lack of preparation because children don't just need roots. That's roots. We done rooted you out. Now you need wings. Because the Bible says train up a child in the way they should. They ain't supposed to stay. They supposed to go, soar, fly. They need wings. I'm going to stop right there. I'm so way over time. I'm going to stop right there. We'll pick it up in part 6. Let's pray. Father, thank you for your word. Thank you for your truth. We need you in our families. Please help us. Where we're disconnected, please bring about connection. Where we're hurting, bring about healing, supernatural healing, restoration. Where we need boundaries, show us where the boundaries are supposed to be. Where we need guidance, please lead us. We don't know what we're doing. We need you. We need you. Except you build our house, our labor is in vain. Help us to build your way. And we thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.